Ammour, Lochner, Treichl, Follador, Friedli, Radislav Subic, Tentea, Vogt, Dobeš, Boron, and Variola. One minute to forerunner.
Could you please make room for the car? Just come in here.
Dobeš, Boron, and Variola. Forerunner is finished.
The fifth race weekend of the BMW IBSF Bobsleigh and Skeleton World Cup, and for the first time in 2 decades we're at the '94 Winter Olympic track in Lillehammer in Norway, 30 years after the games, and the track has never been in better condition. Hello everybody, welcome to the beginning of the men's bobsleigh weekend as we get the first heat of two-man coming up. Martin Haven and from Romania Mihai Pacianu joining me. Mihai, this track, a lot of the younger drivers have raced here in Europa Cup over the years. Some of the teams have been here pre-season or post-season, but it's still effectively for most World Cup drivers a brand new venue. Where are the key areas?
Yeah, that's a pretty strange thing to see that the young athletes actually slide here and the ones with a lot of experience didn't slide. So it's gonna be pretty fun to see what's gonna happen in this race. Here we can see it's starting to get faster and faster because the track is pretty steep. And there we go, this one, it's first big corner with 3 pressure corners where actually the track is just changing the direction, and it's coming in the labyrinth with the 7, 8, 9 curves, which it's very important to don't enter too early. And 3 consecutive corners on the right side, 9, 10, 11, where it's very easy to skid and lose speed. 12, 13, the most important part of the track, and this line where every little drift will cost a lot. In 14 you don't need to enter too early because it's a big bump of ice there. And 15 and 16, and that's it. It's a pretty short track, which is going to show us some very, very close times.
Well, a very elderly start record by a very elderly gentleman as well. Pierre Luders with Jack Pick, set in February 1993, a 31-year-old start record. Let's see how many more minutes it lasts. The downtime set by Max Illman, who's just become the two-man junior world champion again with Philip Verbeto. That was in the Europa Cup back in November 2022. So those are the marks. We saw start and finish record being destroyed in the Monobob this morning, and the chances are that they are going to go here as well. It's a bright sunny day, no snow. There was snow yesterday for Skeleton Day. So all of our regular front runners have limited experience. There on the left, Johannes Lochner has never raced here. The brakeman in the glasses, Georg Fleischhauer, has won here. So it's unusual that the brakeman's got more experience of this track. He actually won a Europa Cup race with Max Illman a couple of seasons ago. There's Brad Hall, hoping to try and bring some results and stay fit and healthy as Team GB recovers from a slew of injuries. And there's another youth Olympian, our first youth Olympic champion, Patrick Baumgartner, having his best ever season, I think, Mihai. He's really completely changed his driving.
Yeah, he changed his driving and his push, which is pushing him to great results. He got also his first World Cup medal this season in China. So it's going to be interesting to see what he can do here. As you talk about the start, I think it's one of the oldest start record we have on tour. I'm not sure if something is older than that, so it's going to be fun to see if someone can beat it.
I know Christoph Lange was surprised a couple of weeks ago that he still had a track record. He said, what? And that was back to the very early noughties or late 90s, but yeah, elderly Pierre Luders, who coaches Brianna Walker, the Australian pilot, he is the start record holder with Jack Peak. First up from Team GB, John Stanbridge and Alex Cartagena. Second World Cup race for the two of them. They made their debut in St. Moritz, both in the Royal Air Force. So their thanks go out to DCAE Cosford and 15 Squadron RAF Waddington for giving them a little bit of leave to come out and compete. Coached by Sean Olsen, the British medalist in Nagano 98, 5:17 getaway, the start record 4:93, and it's a warm, sort of slightly slippery start area, so let's see how close we get.
Yeah, it's a very steep start, so the start time should be a little bit closer to each other's team than compared to other tracks.
Bit of a wave through corner 6, height in 7.
A little bit tap there. But seems John knows the track very well. They do a lot of trainings here, and he showed very good runs also in Europa Cup. So we should see a very nice line here. A little bit skid, which is going to cost a little bit.
Interesting that all the monobobs were tapping on the left, all the skeletons tapped on the left. He had a tap on the right there, but across the line,
track record.
51:29, so 100th inside the track record. So there you go, first trip down in the World Cup, and Stanners has the track record. Congratulations, boys.
Alex Cartagena, it's a very prospective guy. He's called the Spanish Donny because he's born in Spain and he's living in Doncaster. Oh, little problems.
Just got in, yeah.
But experience, it's showing the results here. He still managed it well. He jumped in time there and was a pretty decent drive. But with such a fast track, and look, the eyes looks just like mirror, it's super difficult to don't skid.
Yeah, came out on the right-hand side, which we haven't seen so far. So, John Stanbridge and Alex Cartagena. Now, there are 22 sleds in the field. There are Stanners on the right, Alex on the left. And only 20 go through, so is that enough to get them qualified? Well, we'll see. Next up for Monaco, Boris Vain and Antoine Rieu. Antoine in his 5th two-man World Cup start, Boris in his 4th as a driver.
We should see a bigger start here, maybe under 5 flat.
Okay.
Very nice start. And Boris is knowing the track pretty well. He's been here in Europa Cup, I think, last season, and he had plenty of trainings here. A little drift here, which will cost a little bit 6. It looks a little bit wavy, but the line looks decent. 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, a little flop off 6 into the labyrinth, and that's going to cost him a little bit of speed. That was a 1/4 of a second. Does he have more? Just creeping away from John Stanbridge.
Very nice entry in 13, and the exit is looking pretty decent. He had a hit there, but the runners remain straight, and that's most important, and we're going to see a new track record.
We sure are. 2400s up to 2300s up, 51:06. Okay, so That's already 3/10 nearly inside the track record of Max Illmann and Philip Verbeto.
51.06, and he knew that he can do even better.
Yep. Quite a few mistakes creeping in, as you said. High gloss on the track. They're really working on this. The Icemeister Morten Paulsen and Eivind Bjørgo in the track crew have been working here since the track opened in 1992. So all the way through the games in 94 and ever since.
And this 51.06, it shows how fast is the track, in what conditions it is. 3 months ago in Europa Cup, who could go under 51 with 4 men, it was already super fast. So to see the 2 men having those speeds and those times, it's going to show a very interesting race.
Yeah, Snorre Pedersen, the Norwegian skeleton legend whose wife Maya was forerunning, the Olympic champion Maya Pedersen. Snorre said he's never seen ice this good here, so no wonder the speeds are high. Next up, Radislav Subic of Poland, with Adrian Kaminski making his 2-man World Cup debut. He was due to race in Stanbridge in Europa Cup a couple of weeks ago. They didn't start, so this is his first race in 5 years.
Yeah, he is, looks like he is back in business.
Yeah, and Radislav, it's his 4th World Cup. He's been here 3 times in Europe Cup over the last couple of seasons as he's learned how to drive, so familiar territory. He'll probably feel as comfortable here as most people do going to Innsbruck.
He's still driving, which is learning every run. He's still developing, so we need to see what he can do. Pretty decent line still now.
There's going to be guys like him, John Stanbridge, maybe Aleksander Boron of Poland, maybe Mihai Behunek of the Czech Republic, who are going to be battling to stay in the top 20. Second best speed.
But a bit rough on the bottom part of the track, some hits there, and that's...
Despite all that, still had the second highest speed, so it's not a bad run. Is that enough, though, to keep Radislav Subic and Adrian Kaminski in the race? We will find out, I think, probably when we get another 15 or 16 sleds. 51.76. So that's actually not a track record. That's the first sled that's come down in 3 that wasn't inside the old track record.
Very high the exit here in 13, and a big hit which costed him. But the entry in 14 was pretty decent.
Now the weather a couple of days ago, last day of training, was quite cloudy. All last week it was -18, -20, so it was an entirely different track last week from this week, and then race day is different again, so you have to adapt really fast, don't you? A couple of corners in, you've got to know how much more or less you've got to steer, otherwise you're in trouble. Next up, Simon Friedli, 30th World Cup race as a bobsled driver in 2-man. Andy Haas behind him, and his 2nd 2-man World Cup start, his 16th 2-man World Cup start, I beg your pardon, from a triple jumper.
They've been here also plenty of years ago with the Europa Cup, and Swiss team is developing and having a lot of training programs in this track, so they should know it pretty well. But as I said, I'm not sure if they ever had it in these conditions, so...
True enough. Well, they'll have been used to the -20s last week, because that's the kind of temperatures you get post-season in Stanbridge. 5:05 getaway, so he wasn't quite as quick as Boris Vain, but he's crept in front of the Monaco sled now. Saying before we go on air, that before we went on air, that although he's lying 3rd in the overall points, 5th in the overall points, he hasn't quite had the sort of medal attention that you expect from him.
A new track record here at 130.5 kilometers per hour. That's an impressive season. 50.79. That's a very, very fast run and amazing drive from Simon.
All right, we're going to get into 49s, aren't we? I think we'll be in 49s by the end of the 2nd heat.
It can be possible.
Yeah, 2nd heat at the Monobob wasn't as quick as the 1st, but yeah, we'll see. See how the track bears up.
The weather would look like it's helping us for that, so we will see.
Yeah, you want a bit of clear air and sunshine. So Simon Friedli, Andreas Haas taking a comfortable lead, 2700ths ahead of Boris Vain. This is exit 13. Again, that's much more what we've seen from everybody, coming off a little late and just tapping the left-hand wall. If you're lucky, it's a square tap and you come off straight into 14, very early into 14.
Yeah, it's that bump which I was talking about in form, and we're going to see some action with that. We don't want to do that.
We've seen a couple of crashes from the Latvians in the final day of training. Next up, Frank Del Duca for the USA. His 6th two-man start as a driver, and he's got Manio Mitchell making only his 2nd two-man race start in World Cup.
And Mateo, it's probably the first athlete we are seeing in the field which has an Olympic medal, but not in Winter Olympics. He has one in the Summer Olympics in London in 400 meters relay. So we see what he got. 5:05, that's a very good start for the American team. And
really good. Well, Manio's been more of a four-man man, so maybe he's just trimmed a couple of kilos, or he and Frank have trimmed a couple of kilos each, because you've got to make the maximum weight, got to be under the maximum weight, so you can't just throw big bodies in the sled. 100th behind, this is going to be close with Simon Friedli.
Big wavy there in 6 that we're going to cost a little bit, but probably Frank, it's one of the pilots which less runs on this track. I'm 100% sure that he'd never been here.
No, hasn't raced here at all. So they were here for the training week last week as well, with Shauna Roebuck, who did race here in period. So she raced here in the last World Cup for women and skeleton back in 2004, and Shauna's been a real help. 200s off.
Very close.
And do you know what? Considering he is as brand new a driver, probably even more brand new a driver even than Boris Vain, Frank has just, you know, and obviously learned to drive in North America. He's been really exceptional here in the European tracks.
Yeah, for American drivers, it's always a challenge when they come in Europe. They have to learn almost every week a new track. Here, it costed a little bit of speed for him. It was too wavy in 6, so he missed a little bit of pressures, but he managed it pretty well. Exit of 13 was pretty decent. It doesn't seem like he steered too much, and that's why the difference remained there.
Yeah. So 200ths of a second cover the top 2. Simon Friedli, Frank Del Duca. And they're a quarter of a second ahead of Boris Vain. Manio Mitchell there in the background. He is a bit of a beast, isn't he? Next up then, we have Mickey Vogt of Switzerland with Sandro Mickel, his regular two-man brakeman. 3rd in the World Cup standings. Mickey still nursing a very tender lower back. Raced here in Europe Cup in 2017. And this season, bronze, gold, 5th bronze. It's been a pretty good year for an injured Swiss.
Yeah, and we should see a very nice line from him.
5:02.
That's a pretty very decent start, actually.
So if he can get his back sorted out before next season, then he's going to be even quicker.
Perfect line still now, and you see 6 is not too wavy, not too flat. It's just perfect line. Entries in a labyrinth, great.
It's such a short corner 6. If you come on too high, if you get on too early, then yeah, you're in trouble all the way through. He's got a slender
fastest
advantage.
speed till now.
Yep, new track record coming.
Oh, the exit wasn't the best one, but I still think it's gonna be enough.
Compared to the monos, they're losing less speed with that late flop in 13. 50.6. All right, another 2/10 quicker.
Yeah, comparing with the others, he did a top part amazing. Top of the track was amazing, and that's why that mistake in 13 didn't cost that much. Already he had the best speed so far, so that's why he got a new track record.
And here's the shot going into 13. You get nudged away on that left-hand side.
It was a bit too late, but he still managed it fine. He has enough experience to don't panic in those situations, so...
And the extra weight in the sled compared to the mono means that you're not scrubbing off quite so much with that tap on the wall. So Mickey Vogt leads from teammate Simon Friedli, Frank Del Duca in 3rd. Next up, Emil Cipulis and Dav Springs. Cipulis and Jacobs Calendar both crashed in 4-man in the final day of training. So he's had 3 race weekends here in Europa Cup. He should know this track well enough. And Dove Springs behind him Nearly 25 two-man World Cup starts now. This is World Cup start number 24 for the brakemen, so hugely experienced duo.
Yeah, they have enough experience now to do a good run. 5:04, that's a very good start for the Latvian team. Unfortunately, they crashed in training, and from what I heard, they broke also some helmets. If you could see, they have probably a helmet from a German team. That shows the solidarity in the field.
Yeah.
Very nice lines till now.
Yeah, nice smooth stuff, third best speed, but losing a little bit. 1400s back on Mickey Vogt. Just a little late out of the labyrinth.
Entry in 13 was a nice one and looks smooth, and also the exit, probably one of the most beautiful exits we've seen so far.
Still losing time though, just maybe working a little too hard on the D-rings, and he does not get a new track record, 50.96.
Fourth place just behind Frank Del Duca. Not a bad one for the Latvians, but when you are from Latvia, you are always expecting to fight for first places.
For sure. Well, it's sort of expected from above and from below as well. Everybody wants to be fastest.
We see here very smooth lines. He didn't steer too much. A very nice exit, just a little tap, but the sled remains there, and it's pushing him a little bit away from early entry in 14, and that's very, very good.
Yeah, you want to be kind of right in the middle coming into 14 if you can. It's not easy to do. That's such a short straight and so easy to skid on. It is the only straight on the track once you're actually sitting down. So it's a busy track for a glider's track. So next up is our 8th starter in a field of 22. This is Patrick Baumgartner, our 2012 Youth Olympic champion. Robert Mattia behind him. 12th two-man World Cup starts for the 2022 Olympic brakeman.
Robert is born in Romania, actually, and he's talking also Romanian. But when he was around 6 years old, he moved to Italy, and that's why he's representing Italy. He's probably one of the strongest men in the field, ex-weightlifter, and he's just insanely strong. And that's why we've got a pretty decent start for them, 5:07.
That gives him every opportunity. Baumgartner raced here in Europe Cup in 2019 and 2022.
He knows the track well for sure. Italian team has had for sure some opportunities to train here.
6th at the start, 3rd best speed. Here we go. This is where Patrick Baumgartner can guide the sled. 3rd best speed again. This could be a top 3
little
run.
drift there. That's going to cost a little bit too much. That entry in 13, you don't want to do that. And that's why the speed is a little bit gone, but overall it's still a decent run.
Top 5 run ahead of Boris Vain by 200ths of a second, but he was challenging Frank Del Duca and the top 3.
Yeah, with the 6th best time he came 5th, so that's a progress. But he did a mistake there, which he didn't want. That drift gonna cost a lot in that part of the track, especially that it's just starting to go down there.
Yeah, that early height is always going to cost you, because then you're trying to get off the turn.
This drift is just like a double drift, because again, when you enter in the 13, the back of the sled is going to turn, so you're just cutting the ice there.
Yeah, he whips onto the turn. That's how you slow a motorcycle down going into a turn, which is not what you want on a bobsled. Our Olympic champion, Francesco Friedrich, 96th World Cup start in two-man alone. And he has 73 two-man medals out of 96 starts.
Alex Schuller is just a beast there. So here we have the first contender for a start record.
Yep. Alex Schuller, 24th start in the previous 23 races with France. He's had 22 medals. He just does not know what it's like to be off the podium.
495, very close to start record.
Maybe he's not old enough to get that start
Usually
record.
Francesco is pushing faster in the second run, so we will see what he can do.
Well, we know he's told us so many times, every time they come to a track, they target the track record and the start record. They want everything. They accept that they won't always get it, but it doesn't stop them trying. 101.2, highest speed we've seen.
but a little bit drift there between 6 and 7 and 8, and a late exit of 10, and again the drift out of 11, so the speed is gone. It's not the best run we've seen from Francesco, even if the exit from 13 it looks perfect, but he may be on second place, the third best speed.
Is he going to get a track record? He does!
Yes,
just 50.62, yeah.
But it wasn't the best run so far. A lot of drifts there in the labyrinth and on the exit of 11.
Wow. And there was just that one shot where you thought, is he going over? No, he's not. Now, I'm sure he knew it wasn't, but...
Yeah, we should expect a way, way better run in the second run, so watch out for him.
Take a look here, coming down into the labyrinth.
You don't want to do that.
Skidding, didn't get tapped away, but look at the height, and then... Yeah, okay, it comes back 11, down.
And it's just pushing the sled as late as possible in 12.
And again, big height.
Again, a very big height. He's just probably letting the sled to do what he wants, but it was maybe a bit too much.
Well, his hero's Michael Schumacher, and he's had that sort of racing career, but just occasionally he really lets the sled fly. Next up then is our second of 3 German sleds. Adam Ammour with Benedikt Hertel back behind him again for the second straight weekend after racing in St. Moritz. They raced together in the World Champs in 2022 as well. And I think it was important for the two of them getting safely through the race in St. Moritz as a duo because they crashed out in the Worlds.
Should be another start record contender. Benedikt is just a beast. And let's see what they've got, 498. Pretty close.
Yep, we're getting close. And again, Lochner and Fleischhauer will be targeting that too.
But they had the best velocity, and he's on green numbers.
Right, it was a
ahead.
bit of a wild, loose ride. That's a great-looking corner 6.
Yeah,
great exit. That's what Friedrich wanted. Not as quick as Friedrich. He was about 0.4 of a kilometre an hour down, so the gap has shrunk.
But he didn't do the same mistakes that Francesco did, and this run looks like a new track record. 400 ahead. Let's see how is the speed. Biggest speed so far, so should be a new track record, maybe a 50, 59, 58.
Oh, good read. 55.8, a brand new track record for Adam Ammour and Benedikt Hertel.
That's an impressive run. And we are already getting closer to 1 more second faster than the older track record, which is, wow, it's just unbelievable.
And it's not an ancient track record. It was only set in Europe Cup in the previous race to this season. So, and in fact, I think Adam was here in that race as well. He was in 2022. So it wasn't him that set the record. It was teammate then Max Illmann.
Yeah, Ammour is still learning. He's still a new driver, and it's his first season in World Cup, so he had a lot of things to learn.
4 World Cup races, 3 this season, and his best results so far, a bronze medal a couple of races ago. He leads after the first 10 sleds.
It's a very tight battle already for first places, and we are not even at half of the field.
Here's our points leaders, Hansi Lochner and Georg Fleischhauer. 39 World Cup medals for Johannes Lochner. He has never raced here, but his brakeman has won here with Max Illmann. Took gold in the 2-man race in 2022. So let's see if they can break the start record. 493 is the goal.
494, that was close.
Pierre holds on.
See how long Georg ran for that track record. That can be a good thing, that can be also a bad thing. I didn't really see the velocity, but he has 700
did pretty well, but there are a couple of hundreds, a couple of tenths down on velocity to Adam Ammour. The best speed now.
Little tap there before entering to 9.
But it wasn't a big dramatic moment.
No, definitely not. And he has the biggest speed so far. And 10. Wow, look at that exit of 13 is just perfect.
Where are we? Winterberg, Koenigsee. This is a German 1, 2, 3. 3 track records, 50.34.
Wow, that's gonna be very hard to beat. That exit from 13 says a lot. It was absolutely perfect.
But still mistakes in the run. You know, this is his first proper race here, rather than training and testing.
He didn't got the start record, but he got the track record. What would you prefer?
100th off the start record. They've got another go. Everybody went faster in the second heat, so we'll see.
Perfect, absolutely perfect exit. That's what you want, without any heat, without any driven, and
still got Georg out of the back seat though. He's a little
but
left of
nothing too
centre.
dramatic, and that's why he had the best speed so far.
He has got golden hands, hasn't he, at the moment, Johannes Lochner. He and Georg Fleischhauer have only failed to win once in their 9 previous races together. Yeah. They're just having so much fun. Win, lose or draw, they have a laugh. Austria's Markus Treichl, 53rd World Cup two-man race for Markus. Raced here in 2017 in Europe Cup. Only in the two-man race. And
So
Christian Huber.
So he should have some experience on this track as well.
Yep. Well, Wolfgang Stanford definitely has, his coach. Raced here a number of times in his career.
5:11, probably not the start they wanted.
Markus was never the fastest of starters. Christian Huber on the back, helping out with that. Huber, two-man bronze medalist with Benny Meyer.
Big wavy in 6.
Nice entry into the labyrinth, though. 8th best speed off the 10th best start. Let's see if he can drive himself a little closer to Boris Vain and Mattia Baumgartner ahead of him.
He's not looking like the run he wished.
Speed is getting better, though. 7th best speed. He's still only 10th.
Nice exit from 13, and
here we go.
Should be ahead of Cipulis, maybe.
No, just creeps into 10th place. In fact, he was 10th at the start, 10th at the bottom, despite posting better and better speeds. Didn't actually get close enough to challenge Boris Vain. 400s behind him, 600s behind Mattia Baumgartner. So that's quite a tight battle for 8th place right now.
Yeah, there in between 14, 15, and 16, it's a pretty flat surface, and it's getting also a little bit uphill. So that's why every mistake, it's like doubling. But exit of 13 looks very nice. He didn't steer too much. The sled remains straight.
But he has that flop off the end of the corner.
Maybe a little bit too early in 14, but that's not actually the reason why he's just 700 of that. But I'm sure that he's going to do better in the second run.
Well, next up for Switzerland, Cedric Follador, Greg Jones. 12th World Cup start for Ced in a two-man sled. This season, 9th and 6th, and then 12th and 7th 2 weeks ago in St. Moritz. So World Cup best result was in the plan. That 6th place finish.
He has an amazing riding skills. Maybe the start is not the best thing to show in two-man. 5:20 is 12th best starting now, but I'm sure he's gonna come back.
Gives away 2600s to the fastest starter, Johannes Lochner, who's also, it seems, the best driver. And it's not all about the start here, but it definitely helps. It's a fairly short gliders track.
Very good lines, but just 9 best speed. That's something not okay there. Still 9 best speed, and the lines are looking good. Entry in 13 was okay. Exit of 13 looks good too.
So trying to haul himself ahead of Subic of Poland and Stanbridge of Great Britain to end up in 10th, no, 12th place.
Wow, just ahead the Polish sled. That's not the run he wished for sure.
Well, now, this is good news for John Stanbridge and Alex Cartagena. 22 sleds in the field, 2 won't make it, and the Brits, who were first off, have 2 sleds behind them already, so they know now they are in the second heat.
Yeah.
And that's a big relief for, you know, you've been in that position so many times in your young career. Make the cut, make the cut, make the cut.
Yeah, that's an important achievement, especially when you have your first World Cups.
Yeah.
So they did well, they did all they could. They did a track record, so
Well,
they did all that they could.
Yeah. All right, Cedric Follador, 12th place out of 13 sleds. That's not where he wants to be.
Probably maybe they have some injury troubles. I don't know if that start is not really where they should be.
He has raced here before, 2019 and 2022. Li Chunjian, though, from China, has not had official races here. It's his 20th two-man World Cup start. But behind him, Chu Zilong making his World Cup debut. He's had six four-man starts since Altenburg last January, so he's been a regular on Lee's four-man crew. But this is his first ever two-man World Cup getaway.
I'm not sure how much experience the Chinese sleds have on this track. I don't know if they ever been here for training, so it's interesting to see what they can do.
I know their skeleton team, when they were all young in development, they all came here with Mark Wood, but you're right, I don't know about the bobsled team. Let's take a look at 6. Just drops a little in the middle, comes off relatively nicely into the labyrinth, but high off the exit of 7.
Maybe the track is slowing a little bit down.
Well, it didn't slow down for Hansi Lochner, and that was only 2 sleds ago, so or 3 sleds ago. So I think now we've got past the apex predators in the field.
Yeah, probably he's just ahead of the Polish sled. He has 11 best speed and 13th place.
Just ahead of Subic of Poland. So Subic at the moment in the drop zone.
Looks a little bit like a rough run, and that's what usually happens when you don't really know the track. Like, you just want to be sure that you get the lines which you want, but that means that you oversteer, and that's how it seems to me that he did today.
A little bit more self-preservation than precision, and just got his knee hooked up getting in as well. So right from the beginning of the run, it wasn't quite going his way.
XC313 looks fine.
Yep. Got a nice little
they have great
hit.
coaches, which for sure they slide here before, so
oh yeah,
I'm sure they have the best track notes.
20th World Cup start for Li Chunjian, 10th for Jakob's calendar. Again, crashed in the second set of runs in the final day of training. That was in 4-man. Edgar Zungar's behind him, the 30-year-old brakeman, in his 3rd two-man World Cup start. Made his debut in Innsbruck, raced 2 weeks ago in St. Moritz with Jakobs.
It's good to see also a lot of supporters on the start area.
Yep.
And 509.
Again, I think the fans are discovering just how close you can get to this sport. I was saying yesterday in skeleton, I don't know of any other sport where you can be so close to the action, never mind action moving at the speed it does on a bobsleigh track.
Yeah, that's true. Like the feeling when you see a bobsleigh track, like being a fan, probably something which you don't see in any sport, any other sport.
Absolutely.
Jakobs had 10 best start and 8 best speed, and he looks in like a very good run here.
Yeah.
He raced here before too. Exit of 13 looks good. Entering 14, it's good. And this is actually a very good run. Should be close to top 6.
Yeah. Ahead of Patrick Baumgartner in 8th place.
8th place.
Yeah, 50.98. So again, 3/10 inside the old track record.
And just 200 behind his teammate.
That's pretty good grouping, isn't it? Yeah, the 2 Latvians. Oh, we see so often there's little, if anything, between them. If you had to, back in the old day, if it had to be Latvia 1 and Latvia 2, they'd be arguing about it all night, every night.
Yeah, that's true, and that's why they are growing so fast, because there is a competition between them always.
Well, a little rocking and rolling. Again, this some short, sharp transition on this track.
A little bit drift here in the entry of 13, and the entry, it's a bit too late, and that's cost him a little bit, maybe 1-2 spots, but I'm sure he will fix it in the second run.
Hansi Lochner leads from Adam Ammour and Francesco Friedrich. Germany 1-2-3, Switzerland 4-5. Hello, is it the 1990s calling? Here we go as we get ready for our second Chinese sled. This is Sun Kai-chi and Cheng Heng. Cheng in his 7th two-man World Cup start, driver Sun in his 13th. And for both of them, this is virgin territory, first race on this track. 11th in Beijing at the beginning of the season. The best results so far in a two-man for Sun this year. 5:11 getaway.
A little bit better and faster than their teammates. So let's see if he can manage to do a little bit better run.
Well, you talked about the Latvians pushing each other on. The Chinese definitely do, because there's a massive focus on Chinese sport from within the homeland.
Yeah, there is always a competition. They are always looking for good results.
Nice looking run so far. 11th best start, but the speed isn't quite there. Oh, late exit.
Exit of 12 and looks pretty decent, but entry 13 was a bit too late. Exit of 13 was looking nice, and still 11 best speed.
Yeah, whipping on and off the corners isn't helping with the speed. 51.38, so 3/10 or 2.5 tenths behind his teammate.
Yeah, he's just ahead of his teammate, but with 2.5 advantage. So definitely looks like a better run, but still a lot of place for improvement.
So height and a flop on the exit.
Again, same situation as his teammates. Looks like the fact that he is first time here, you can see it on the track. Like, looks like he's overdriving a little bit, and it's a bit rough in his steering.
And here's the other side of that view from 13. Going away, gets a tap away, and that puts you almost in the center of the track, which is sort of where you want to be for 14, so it could have been worse. But yeah, Sun winning the battle of the Chinese duo at the moment. Next up, your teammate, Mihai Tentea, and another two-man World Cup debutant, Constantin Dinescu, behind him.
Yeah, it's his second ever two-man race. He's usually competing just in four-man.
Yeah.
And Mihai is actually the only slider from Youth Olympics in Lillehammer who is still competing.
Yeah, finished just off the podium in 4th place.
5:16, it's the getaway.
But the rest of the field is a whole list of names that you wouldn't really recognize.
He knows the track well. He has a lot of runs here, so we should see some very nice lines. So as you can see, this one in 6. 7, 8, 9 looks decent.
14th at the start, 15th place on the splits at the moment. Let's see if he can find a little bit more speed. Transponder's not giving us the live speeds.
12, 13 looks good. Exit of 13 looks also a little bit good. Just a little bit of flop there. So let's see where they can be.
Going to be between the two Chinese sleds. Can he overhaul Sun? He does not. He's 300s behind Sun Kaizhi. 51.41 for Mihai Tentea.
Yeah, just ahead of a Chinese team and a Polish team, and that's just going to assure them that they are in top 20.
Yep.
Not the run Mihai wanted for sure, but he can manage it better.
I wonder if we are starting to see the effects of the warmer day on the track. There was a couple of late flops. He actually flopped a little bit out of 3 into 4 as well, I thought. And that's the trip going down into 14. That big bump on the way in. The corner starts pretty abruptly there, doesn't it? So Mihai Tentea, welcome to the World Cup to Constantin Dinescu in the two-man. His only previous World Cup race actually was here in December in Europe Cup as well, his only previous two-man race. Next up, Matej Bena of Czech Republic, only his second two-man start this season with Michal Dobeš behind him. And Matej drove the two-man in St. Moritz, and the following day was back in the four-man crew. So he's I mean, this is how a lot of athletes learn to drive. They go away and drive for a weekend, then come back and do a World Cup race as a brakeman and go away and drive. He's doing his learning driving in the World Cup and then braking the next day. So training must be a nightmare for him.
Yeah, that's true. It's hard when you are not constantly in the World Cup, where the program is a little bit more relaxed. Yeah. And Matej has, I think, enough experience on this track. He competed plenty of times, so let's see what he can do. 5:17.
Yeah, just 100 slower than Mihai Tentea of Romania at the start, and he's right in a battle with Mihai as well. 12th best speed, a little quicker, I think, than Mihai had. Still 15th. Being about a second off the lead. 13th best speed. He is hovering around 14th, 15th spots. Big skid.
Yeah, big skid. That's the first big skid we've seen on that line.
And again, another big skid down 15 to 16, 16th at the line, 2 sleds behind him. He's in the race.
He is in the race just with 500 ahead of the Chinese sled.
Li Chunjian might be in trouble here. Yeah. Radislav Subic of Poland, we sort of expected with his relative lack of experience that he might be in trouble, but Li Chunjian, 20th World Cup race, not a time to go missing the cut. He may still make it, of course. We've got another couple of newer drivers to come. But look at this huge skid.
12, 13, huge skid.
Whoa.
Entry of 13, another big skid. He was very, very high here on the exit. That's not what you want.
Yeah.
And again on the exit of 13, here a huge skid, probably the biggest we've seen so far today.
And then skidding 15 into 16 as well. Hasn't got the art of the runner check yet to try and drag the nose back and straighten up the tail. So Matej Bena, he's in the race though, ahead of Li Chunjian and Radislav Subic. 18 sleds down, 4 to go as we get to Brad Hall and Taylor Lawrence. 53rd two-man World Cup start. Why are they so far back here? Because they've only done 2 races this season and you are ranked according to your points. 5:05, that's a good getaway now. Now we find out what's left in the track. If Brad can have a clean drive here, then we'll find out if the track has still got fast ice. Looks good so far, but he's a quarter of a second back. 7th at the start, he's down to 10th on the splits. Clean again.
Best speed.
All right, well, that's better than the last couple of sleds who've been 16th best speed. But a mistake there as well in the labyrinth.
He's still recovering from injury, so every run from him. 3rd best speed so far.
Here we go.
He's coming.
Good exit out of 13, little flop, but it came straight. Second best speed at the bottom for Brad Hall in his Accent sled and across the line.
7th place.
All right, from the 5th best start, 7th best start rather, that's pretty decent. That is pretty decent. So there is still speed in the track if you know where to look.
Exactly, and probably for Brad, he has the fewest runs from the field on this season. He started to drive just 2-3 weeks ago.
And still 3700s inside the track record that was established last November, or November 22. So that's a pretty decent looking run through corner 6 as well. Brought it down maybe a little early, and out of 13.
A little bit of flop, but the run remains straight, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, we've seen a dozen that were worse than that, and that's why he's up knocking on the door of the top half dozen. Well, he's his own biggest critic, so he'll think there's a dozen things in there that need tidying up. If he can get 2 or 3 of them sorted out, the top 6 is on the cards. Now, what about the Czech Republic's other team, Adam Dobeš and Dominik Zaleski? Zaleski, the quickest of their brakemen, behind the better of their 2 drivers. Europa Cup winner here in November 2021, Adam Dobeš. It's his 10th World Cup start.
Yeah, he definitely knows the track well, and that win Europa Cup, I remember that it was a very, very big surprise to win against a lot of good German teams. That's an impressive one.
Well, that's the thing with Europa Cup. You tend to have 4 German teams on the podium and then everybody else trying to battle for the other spots. And it's amazing how often big names rock up in Europe Cup races as well.
5:07, 10 best start time.
Yeah.
And let's see if he can manage it till the finish line like that.
Well, we've seen that there is speed in the track for Brad Hall. Let's see if Adam Dobeš can find some as well. Like Brad, dropping away a little early on.
Have a bit wavy on 6, and that's why the speed is a little bit gone.
A little skid down there as well into corner 10.
Entry 13 looks good. Oh, exit of 13 rough. 8400s. Oh, that's a little bit in danger for being in top 20.
Drifting away. 17th, just behind Mihai Tentea, Adam Dobeš. But Dobeš is ahead of teammate Matej Bena. So Bena is in the race. Li Chunjian of China and Radislav Subic of Poland are our tail end Charlies with 2 to go. Subic of Poland or Aleksander Boron of Poland might make the race, but it will be if Boron gets in at the expense of his teammate. And here, yeah,
just if they don't finish on tie.
If they don't finish in the dead heat, that's a very good point. Oh, hard rattle there. That will have woken up the brakemen. Not that you get to nod off in these things. Adam Dobeš dropping the sled, and Dominik Zaleski will have felt that. There's Adam.
And the track is clear.
All right, 2 to go. Aleksander Boron and Bartosz Zienkiewicz of Poland. 23-year-old driver, 22-year-old brakeman. Their 3rd World Cup start together in 4-man. Alexei made his debut in Innsbruck. Did the Junior Worlds last week. Didn't finish in the medals, but he was the under-23 silver medalist in 2023 in 2-man. He's only raced on 6 tracks in total. He's had 7 2-man races here and 3 4-man races. I don't know if he knows any track better than this one.
Yeah, it seems like he had a lot of runs here, or that drift won't help there. And exit of 4 in a bit wavy in 6.
He's starting on 5.17 at a bit of a disadvantage.
He has the 17 best speed, another hit there, and before entering the pan.
Right now, though, he is in 20th place. Now he's dropped behind his teammate, Radislav Subic.
That's not what I expected. A little bit drift out of 13, but he managed it well, and it's going to be super, super close.
It is. One of the 2 Polish sleds might make it through, and at the moment, Boron is in 20th, and Subic gets no second heat.
But let's see if any Polish sled going to remain, because there is one more sled to go.
And Mattia Variola might well have the speed to make it in. Right now, Aleksander Boron is in the race with Bartosz Zienkiewicz, but I'm not sure that he's going to stay there. How close the fans are to the action, to the adrenaline at the start. It's a great atmosphere up at the start area.
Yeah, those mistakes from the top of the track didn't help for sure.
Yeah, for all the experience he's got here, maybe still just a little bit nervous and tight overdriving the sled.
I'm sure that if he is going to manage to qualify for second run, he's going to show us a better driving.
All right, and finally in this first heat, Mattia Variola. Jose Abu back on the 2-man sled, was due to race in St. Moritz 2 weeks ago, replaced by Fabio Batti before the race started. 6 2-man World Cup start for Jose, and the 32nd for Mattia after 9 as a brakeman.
Mattia knows also the track pretty well. He was here in Europa Cup in November when his teammates were in Beijing.
Yeah, raced here in 2019 and 2022 as well, so he's got plenty of knowledge. 5.12 getaway, 15th start, so that gives him the opportunity to make it into the race.
Yeah, that's where the battle starts. Oh, that drift gonna cost a lot there on exit of 4.
And again, straight up towards the roof in 6 and waving all over the place.
15th best speed. I don't know where he's gonna put him now.
Oh, he's not keeping up with the sled here. He's reacting to it, not leading it.
Very late entering 12, very late entering 13. But exit of 13 looks good, and that's going to help him.
That should be enough. 16th on the splits, only with 20 best speed. He will be in, and neither Polish sled will make it through. 15th at the line, 51.36. So neither of our Polish sleds make it through into the field. And Li Chunjian of China hangs on by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, and if you look on the statistics, he had the lowest speed so far from all the sleds on the field. That shows that the mistakes he did, but he still managed to do it well.
Yeah, managed to come across the line in 15th place, 200s ahead of Sun Kaizhi. Doesn't make comfortable viewing for the coaches. And Tia still really trying to find his feet this season.
But with all the mistakes, this exit of 13 looks very nice.
18th, 24th and 17 so far this season. He's in 15th place at the moment, so he might be on target for a PB. Simone Battaglia. Okay, just calm down now and just don't be so tight and just relax. It must be so hard for a driving coach to instill that pace into an athlete. But right now we have a very familiar face at the top of the pile, two very familiar faces. Johannes Lochner and Georg Freitauer lead from Adam Ammour and Benedikt Hertel, with Francesco Friedrich and Alexander Schuller in third place. Swiss sleds 4th and 5th, USA 6th, GB 7th, Latvian 8th and 9th, and the Italians in 10th ahead of Monaco, Austria, Great Britain, Switzerland and Italy. So it's a pretty wide gap first to second, and as we saw in the Monobob race thereafter, okay, everybody's race. There's 3 sleds battling for silver, and again here, look, Baumgartner 200s ahead of Van, 400s ahead of Treichl. And then again, Follador, 100th to Variola. That's going to be an interesting little battle.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting battle behind. From 13th place to, I would say, 18. It's a very close battle, so everything can happen.
We will see a lot of changes. Aleksander Boron does not get through. Radislav Subic does not get through. So Poland's day enters, or finishes now, and everybody else gets ready for the second and deciding heat. And that will be at 14:30, which is in 36 minutes from now, 13:30 GMT, 08:30 Eastern. Until then, on behalf of Mihai Pacianu, me, Martin Haven, and the IBSF TV crew here in Lillehammer, thank you for joining us. We will see you in just over 35 minutes for the second and deciding heat, race 5 of the BMW IBSF two-man bobsleigh World Cup.